Yay,
All right.
Danhausen. All right, bye-bye.
I can't do the opening like Bud because I'm not Bud, but welcome to the BREWDCAST. We are the Brood. I am the Town Drunk. How you doing? Or just Town? Leon's here too. Say hi, Leon.
Hi, Leon.
And Bud is dealing with a sick
Children.
child. A sick child. Did you
Sick
watch?
children.
Did you watch Dynamite tonight, Leon?
I watched Dynamite tonight, Town.
Okay, what'd you think?
It was all right.
It was good.
I like the fact I'm kind of interested in the fact that they got multiple people kind of lining up for the world title.
I'm
rather
digging
than
that.
just, this is the guy, and this who's going after it right now. It's a little change of pace, and I'm kind of interested in it.
That has me interested. I still think the stealing the title thing is stupid.
Oh,
And the
absolutely.
fact that MJF got it back, but then got punched in the nuts right away and lost it back. I enjoyed the ending of the Battle Royal. When Caster got thrown out because he was worried about MJF. I like what they're doing with that.
Yeah, that's. I think I mentioned that last time.
Yeah.
I'm finding that pretty compelling. I like that.
I think I liked.
Rather than being over the top and everything all the time, I like a more the more nuanced kind of three-dimensional human being of Max Caster is really interesting.
I liked what they did with the MJF Jay White feud today. And I know I haven't liked much, and I still have problems with it, but I thought today it was a lot better. Here's my issue with Dynamite.
What did you enjoy in particular about it, Down?
What did I enjoy about it? I just think the way they set it up. I think the way the main event went, I thought was pretty solid. I thought it was a good I thought it was a good concept. I think MJF needs to beat Juice Robinson, and I feel like he's not gonna.
You think they're finally going to take that fucking ring off of him?
I think so.
Okay.
I think because it puts him in more of a spot when he defends that title.
More peril.
Which that I don't agree with, because I think I get what they're trying to do, but at the same time, it's just kind of like, okay. I think MJF should cheat and win that match. That's what I think. Really bad, like a really dirty move, and he wins that match. I'm going to tell you what I didn't like about that main event. Is that match started, and I looked in the ring, and how many people legitimately could have won that match? 2.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of actual options there.
2, and I
it kind of like the Royal Rumbles back in the day before they started making it anybody can do it, where it's like, okay, that guy, or maybe that guy.
That was really, that was the issue I had with it. I was just like, this is really predictable. And you didn't even have and I get why they didn't have other people. I get why there wasn't a Hook, why there wasn't an Orange Cassidy, why they didn't have some of those other guys, because if you put those guys in the match, they got to take an L. So I get that, but
I've always felt that losing in battle royals is it's never really that bad of a thing.
I didn't think so.
It's not like a momentum killer. It's not like something that buries you, or all that fun kind of stuff that they.
I can think of a few times where a battle royal loss buried somebody.
Yeah,
and that would be when Daniel Bryan came back in WWE.
Oh God!
And they had Bray Wyatt knock him out.
Okay.
That was very.
Right.
That was that's the worst Royal Rumble ever. Hands down. And it was fucking.
Was that the Bautista one? No, that's not Bautista.
No, that was the year before. Or 2 years before? No, that was the year before, yeah.
Okay.
That one was bad.
That one was up there on the worst list.
Well, the 14 was the one where Roman won. And then That was the one where Big Show and Kane knocked out everybody in the match, and then Roman dumped them both out. And then The Rock came out, and then they booed The Rock. Honest to goodness, one of my favorite moments, because I've never seen booking fail quite like that, and I don't.
Dude, just the look on Rock's face during that reaction is priceless.
And I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know how anyone.
Shit, not even I can make people fucking, react positively to this guy.
I don't know what. I don't know what the fuck, like how Vince McMahon could have sat in the back and been like, "This is fine. Everything's fine. They love him. Oh, it's just Philadelphia. They cheer a little differently." But no, that was bad.
They're a weird crowd now. We'll get them to Mania and they'll blow the roof off the place.
They didn't. Well, they did when Seth Rollins came out and cashed in. But I watched Collision this week. I don't know if you did.
Yeah, I watched Rampage and Collision earlier today.
I did not watch Rampage. I watched Collision.
Okay.
That opening segment was interesting. I feel like Edge and Ricky Starks were kind of shooting at each other there for a moment. I don't know if they were or what the design was.
I feel like if any kind of script that there was a little bit of with the Rock comments and the over the edge comments, and because just the way that both of them reacted to it, it didn't feel like it was that they knew that was coming.
I wonder if I think Ricky Starks took a shot, and then Edge came right back at him. It was like, "Here you fucking go, kid."
Well, no, it was Edge went first with the vanilla version of the Rock thing.
Yeah.
With those slacks, and then he came back with his over the edge thing, and it was
weird.
It was
weird.
Odd, yeah.
Everybody online is just saying, Edge is already upset in AEW because they can't do anything right. I'm like, I don't think he is. I get the feel
like most people that go from E to AEW. I mean, they always love that extra creative freedom and the ability to write their own stuff and everything.
What I was just gonna say is I get the vibe that AEW is kind of like 98, 99 WWF, where everybody's trying like a fucking dog to get over and they're just going. And I think that's kind of a similar thing that's going on. But I thought Collision was okay. I thought the main event was the main event. Nothing on Collision really stood out to me.
I don't remember
I can't remember much.
Watching them back to back. Like I almost watched all three of them back to back, so everything's kind of one.
Yeah.
Right.
I like tonight. No match really stuck out to me tonight. Even the Kenny Omega match, which was good, was just kind of like, okay.
Like Emmy and Sheeta beating the shit out of each other.
That was fun. But even that, I was just like, okay, cool. I don't feel like
I'd like to see a pay-per-view match with those two and give those two 20-25 minutes and just let them go.
I'd like to see him take Emmy and actually like build her up a little bit. Instead of just randomly sticking her out there like, hey, it's Emmy, here you go. It's just like,
and pretty much she's one of those where depending on who she's facing, you know who's winning the match.
Yeah, every time. It's easy to tell. You knew she wasn't winning tonight. Trying to think of what else AEW was. It was just kind of a week. Last week they had that big Tuesday night show, and it was just everything after that was just kind of and I felt like
from Sting.
That was something we'll have to talk about too. He's going to retire in March at that show.
Revolution.
It's time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the dude's earned whatever. Sure. Who does he fight?
Did they bring back Rick for one? He's been bucking for another match again. Another one last match.
No. No, but he mentioned him. So I'm not
Like
wondering if
seriously,
that's
the
what they're
last like
thinking.
2 weeks, I've been seeing stuff about that, about him getting the itch to do one last match. Like, oh my god,
I hope to God it's not fucking Rick.
that just occurred to me when you said who. I'm like,
Not Rick.
maybe that's why he's been making. Maybe he heard from Sting, and that's why he's been making those rumbles. Who knows?
What if it's Darby?
Do they do it as a respect thing, or does one of them turn?
No, you do it as a respect thing, and then you
Okay,
pass that torch. You put Darby over.
So then Sting's going out on his back. Yeah, I could see that maybe. I don't. Well, I mean, are we gonna get a fucking "I'm sorry, I love you" spot, or
I could maybe
something to that?
We could. I would say.
I could really see them do something like that, where, you know, like Sting's never been the knockdown, drag out, brawl type, but I could see him, you know, being at the end of his leash, and
he hasn't lost in
Darby
AEW.
and
He's never lost
Darby.
in AEW.
Mm-hmm.
He's won every match, and if he puts over Darby on the way out, and they have that respect thing, and he comes out, and I hope he comes out the show after and has like a retirement show, kind of like what they did for Flair and Michaels and them, and they give him that moment, and he gets to talk to the crowd and everything. I think that'd be great.
Fuck yeah, that'd be cool as hell.
Because the fucking guy's earned it
for sure.
I don't know how he stayed relevant for so long, but he comes on the screen and he matters. Like, he never didn't matter at any point. You know, like we got to a point with Ric Flair, it was just like, go the fuck away. We got to a point with Hogan where it was like, go away. But Sting somehow pulled that off, which is fucking awesome. I mean, it's fucking awesome. But I think, I think if you do that, you make Darby.
Oh, for sure.
I don't think you have him job to a heel on his way out.
I mean, you could.
Could you though?
How much mileage could someone like Swerve get out of saying "I retired fucking Sting"?
That was the name. That was the first name that came into my mind too. Was Swerve. The only problem I think with that is, I think if you're going to retire like that, look at Shawn Michaels. It was a clean match. It was, you know what I mean. I think if Swerve was going to do it, cheat, and I don't think that would work. I think it would work better face versus face. Do you put that on? Do you put that on last? Because
I don't know.
Well, think about it, because that's going to be an emotional. That's going to be like an emotional outburst. That's going to be like this big moment. How do you follow Sting's last match? In ring work wise, okay, fine, easy.
Yeah, and you're fine, but I mean, like
moment
we've talked about before, but yeah, the whole emotional part of it, though.
Yeah,
like, yeah. I mean, you're gonna if anything, like that match, all the whatever kind of shenanigans they have to finish it, and then something of a filler, like, you know, catch your breath time. I don't know, like popcorn match, you know, that kind of thing, and then the main that you'd have to give it time in between, because you can't do that and then go straight into the main event. You're just gonna, especially with the length of their pay-per-views and everything, like your crowd is just gonna be fucking worn.
I know, that's why I don't know if you put that on last. Give them that last main event, that last one, like here it is.
Like
that'll be a big moment.
Was their last pay-per-view the first one where they haven't had the world title in the main?
They've done it a few times.
They have.
They've done it a few times.
I couldn't recall.
A couple of the Stadium Stampedes were last.
Oh shit! They had those as the main. Wow, I didn't know that.
A couple times they did.
So, see, I didn't start watching their pay-per-views until Punk showed up. So, $50 a lot of money, man.
Well, it sounds like they're going on Max, and they're going to do one a month. I have Max, so I don't care. I care more about the one a month. I care more about the one a month. I think if you...
I don't like that.
I don't know. But like, what if you don't put everybody on every show? Like, 'cause I feel like Tony Khan wouldn't do that. Like, make one show, you have one show main event be the international champion, then you do the world for a bigger one, and then you can do the TNT, or you can even do like a tag team. You don't have to have everybody on every show.
I mean, if they can plan it and work it that way, fuck yeah.
I think it's
But
doable.
it's just, yeah, it's just they get into such a groove with the especially before they added Forbidden Door and then All In and all that. Like they got themselves into a really nice groove of like one show a quarter. They build up to it, they have that big blow off, and then they're right into the next one. But this one, like every month thing, it takes it out of people.
You kind of hit the nail on the head there, though, I think, Leon, because I think one of the things that we've seen over the past year here is like the quality of the TV shows probably isn't where it was 2 years ago. And I think part of that is because we're doing more pay-per-views and we're doing more scrambles to set shit up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
more shows too. I mean, they got that's.
Well, that's also, but that's the downfall of WWE.
More TV per week. Yeah,
this is a downfall of WWE. A lot more,
I mean, 3 hours of TV. Well, what was it, like 5 with Dark and Dark Elevation, and then I mean, but those two never really counted. They were just matches.
Yeah. And those they're not running
much on there. Now they have like actual television shows with segments and storylines and shit. That's a lot more to be doing every week.
I still don't think Collision was a good idea. I get it, and they're getting more guys on TV, but I think it's too much. And I think the biggest downfall that WWE's always had is everything's just shot out of a shotgun. You can't build anything because you've got to have everybody on every show. And there's Triple H starting to not do that. I don't know if you've noticed that, but like certain people aren't going on certain shows, and he's fine leaving people off, which is the right way to do it.
Endeavor or whatever put him in charge too, right?
Yeah, Vince is done. It's the Triple H show, and you can tell the product's
he's still like involved in the company, but creatively it's Trips now, right?
He's got no say in creative.
Yeah. So it's all Triple H now.
It's great. I think that's great. I think that's great. I think, I think in a year, I bet you that show is going to be pretty watchable. One of the things that I hope they pull Raw back to 2 hours.
That would be fucking nice.
They're talking about moving the night Raws on, and I kind of go, if I'm AEW and they move it to Wednesdays, I'm moving Dynamite to Mondays. Because that Monday wrestling audience has been there for fucking 30-some years. They're going to want something on Mondays. I think moving off of Mondays is a terrible idea.
Is it a move to attempt to get away from Monday Night Football for that quarter of the year or a third of the year that it's on?
I think it's just they're willing to negotiate one night it's on.
What's it so fucking like SmackDown? Sure, it never really had, it was never really tied to a night. But fucking,
you got to remember
Raw is Monday Night Raw.
The people making the decisions though are not WWE people anymore. They're Endeavor people.
True.
So they're more interested in maximizing their profit as opposed to tradition. But if I'm Tony Khan and they open that Monday slot up, put us on fucking Mondays because we're going to pick up some of that audience. Because people are creatures of habit,
Monday night, 7, 8 o'clock, whatever. You're looking for the old wrestling show and it's not on. Oh, what's this?
Yeah.
I could see that happening.
I listened to an Eric Bischoff interview today.
Oh boy. He's been being a curmudgeon lately from what I've seen.
He had a really interesting point. He had a couple, and it was an interview where they were talking about what CM Punk's downfall was. And he blamed Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez. He said they're muckraking news style and stirring that pot, you know, created attention backstage. And he said, and then the guy interviewing him, I forgot his name, Conrad. Conrad's like, what? What? But why would they do that? Well, because drama is good for them, and they want to create this war, and they want to create this tribalism, and they want to create a war between AEW and WWE. And then Bischoff's like, there's no war. He said, there's no war. He said, by any metric,
it's a war. Fuck.
By any metric, this isn't a war because WWE wins every metric. He's right. I just found that interesting that he still holds so much hate for those guys. But then I kind of look at the situation, and when the Punk shit was going on, what happened to their clicks?
Through the roof.
So it's kind of like, okay, but I don't know that I agree that was their goal. I think their goal was to get clicks, and it was a little sensational, but it also wasn't sensational. And he took all the blame off of CM Punk. Like, none of it was CM Punk's fault. It was Tony Khan's fault, and it was Alvarez and Meltzer.
And
I'm like, but CM Punk attacked people. Like, he was the one that did that. So I found that really interesting. Because I like listening to Eric Bischoff, because Eric Bischoff is a different kind of wrestling promoter, because I don't think he's truly a wrestling fan.
No, he's a business guy.
He's a TV guy. And his take on wrestling is just so interesting, because it's not about, like, Eric Bischoff doesn't understand what a good match is. No. He doesn't. To him, a good match is Hulk Hogan
versus
started Warrior.
AWA, man. Come on.
AWA was awful.
There's good wrestling there, though.
Vern. Good old Vern. 70-year-old Vern is a champion.
Hey, what's up?
Welcome, Bud Robinson, to the BREWDCAST.
My daughter didn't throw up.
Did you?
Hooray! No vomit.
I mean, I might.
Okay.
I think we all have whatever this is. So, yay.
Oh, yeah, no.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Town and I both missed the Tuesday, Wednesdays of our respective work week last week, so.
Cheers.
Okay. Can I throw my 7 cents in?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know where we're at with this argument. Punk?
Not really arguing, we've just been discussing.
We haven't argued at all.
Okay.
No.
Cool.
You're gonna be surprised at how calm we've been.
I'm here now.
So you might be the catalyst to piss us off.
Damn it, Bud.
I am the Loki of the Brood, without even knowing it.
Bud Loki Robinson.
That is my middle name, actually. I mean, I guess Meltzer and Alvarez had some things to do with it, if you want to look at it that way. Punk absolutely had lots and lots and lots to do with it. The idea that they're farming a war is ridiculous. I can see how he got there, because if you don't take into account any of the backstory of Tony Khan with WWE, and the fact that Tony Khan has religiously said, we are a different product, we're not trying to compete, then yeah. But I think if there is any fabrication of a war, it's not on AEW's side. It's on WWE's side. Because they were the ones who came out as the bigger dogs in this fight and said, we're going to send a message. That's my 7 cents.
I think when you have new people debut on the show and then take shots at WWE, I think that's kind of a war thing. But that's been going on for years.
Yep.
I think the incredulous part of that is the fact that Punk got no blame in his firing. Like, Punk didn't do anything wrong. Punk was this, Punk was that. It's like, well, no, Punk fucking physically attacked like 5 people.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of why he got fired.
A little, yeah.
It was an interesting listen. And then I was telling Leon, I enjoy listening to Eric Bischoff, because Eric Bischoff he's not a wrestling fan. TV business guy who, like, his view of the business is so different from what an actual fan is. He doesn't understand what a 5-star match is.
Right.
He'll sit there and he'll bitch about the star ratings because he'll be like, well, the Booty Man versus DDP was a great match. It served its purpose. It did what it needed to do for the TV show. And then somebody's like, yeah, but that match sucked. And he's like, well, it didn't suck. It was a perfectly fine match. So he has no concept of 5-star match to him is like Hulk Hogan body slamming Kamala and giving him a leg drop.
I think that's why I enjoy Eric Bischoff, is because he almost gets it right. He's this close. If he had more knowledge of wrestling, because you're right, if you read his book, it's 100% he's a businessman. Yep. That's why the NWO flopped. It was because he wasn't looking at it. He wasn't looking at it as a wrestling fan or as a wrestling person. He was looking at it from a business standpoint. They're still selling T-shirts, so we're gonna keep pushing them into the fans' face.
And it backfired tremendously.
It did.
Do you have anything about Dynamite, or did you see Dynamite?
I did. I saw most of it anyway. What did I have for Dynamite? I actually had more to talk about for Collision, I think.
I watched Collision, and I was just kind of like, okay,
it was kind of boring.
Yeah, we made good.
Yep. Yeah, that's my big thing. I don't like Edge. Sorry, Adam Copeland. I don't like him in AEW. And here's I think it's because, like, he has been so, like, he's been in the WWE system for so long that he just screams WWE guy. So, like, he goes has a promo on Collision for 12 minutes or 15 minutes, and it just reads as a WWE promo to me until Ricky Starks and FTR came out. I was just like, this
Ricky
sucks.
Starks, me and Leon talked about the Ricky Starks interaction. That was fucking weird.
It was a little weird. Yeah.
I think we talked about that on Saturday too, when we were playing.
Yeah,
another really weird thing from that one that I remember thinking about what was really out of place: the fucking giant security guard in the middle. The other guys were in all black, the security T-shirts and everything. Motherfucker in the middle is in this, like, maroon or burnt orange or whatever the fuck color, like, 3-piece suit.
But I thought we were supposed to know who he was. Like,
when Ricky Starks told him to get down and he got down on his knees, that was fucking hilarious. that whole segment to me was shitty because you had, like, really good people there, and that segment was just,
it was a clusterfuck.
A clusterfuck of weird.
And weird, and Edge, Adam Copeland just does not know how to do a candid promo anymore. Like, he just doesn't. That's not his style. But he's trying to do it, and kudos to him. But you can't say on TV. You can't say that. Like, you just
felt
can't.
Like they felt like they were shooting. Like, they felt like that wasn't supposed. That felt like it wasn't supposed to happen. But
no, and it sounded like it. It's
awkward.
It was awkward. And then the rated R rebuttal, like, the story that they're telling with Copeland and Christian, if it turns out the way it should, will be a very good story. Absolutely.
So I think it's just going to be a matter of him kind of feeling that company out and adapting, like Leon just said.
Yeah.
Is there any doubt in any of your minds that once the pops aren't quite as loud, that he's immediately turning and being Christian's buddy again?
I think that's going to happen. I kind of want him to come out and be like Matt Cardona, like, play up the WWE shtick. I want, like, Daniel Bryan to come up to him and be like, dude, that WWE thing is not working. Just, like, make it work for you. He's a smart guy. Like, he gets the business.
Could you imagine? Mm-hmm. Could you imagine, like, rated R Edge, like 2007 Edge, when he was, like, at his fucking peak, or 2005 Edge, with this Christian?
Oh God.
10 out of 10.
It would be incredible.
Well, even
I don't think that's what they're going to do.
Was Christian in TNA in 2007? I don't remember. But even him in TNA, like,
that's around. I want to say it's around the time that he left.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I think that's why Christian is hitting it so well, is that like he spent a lot of time, like he's been under the radar for at WWE because they don't really like him, and then he's spent time in TNA. He's spent time now in AEW for 2
Yeah, but
years,
he's also
3 years.
been that.
But, like,
I think the big thing is he's been in AEW for so
Yeah.
long. I think he got a better feel because when he first came in, he just felt like a WWE guy,
yeah,
and I
That's
think
probably
he had to find his spot. And when they turned him heel and he started doing this, he's like the greatest thing on TV.
it's true. He is.
So, the other thing I bitched about was the Dynamite Diamond Battle Royal.
I did not see most of that.
Well, guess who won?
It was Juice.
Yeah, guess who he threw out last?
Max.
Yeah, do you know why? Because no other person in that ring fucking mattered.
But
That was
Dustin
one of the
Runnels was there. Dustin Rhodes, sorry. Dustin, whatever, the natural, he was there. He had his own teaser on Collision. He's coming
my
back.
God. That was so fucking predictable. That was like, it wasn't bad. And I did say to Leon that I enjoyed the build on Dynamite tonight, what they did with MJF and Jay White, more than I've enjoyed anything else.
Okay.
I thought tonight was pretty good. I don't like the stupid low blow to get the belt back. I thought that was fucking dumb. The belt thing's still dumb. And Jay White still feels to me like he is not on MJF's level. But the ending they pulled, I thought was pretty good.
I don't know what they're doing wrong there, because like seeing his run on top and in New Japan and everything, like I don't know what they're doing wrong to not get that guy right now. Maybe it's they're being a little too hokey and leaning into that too hard, or I'm not sure what it is, but something's just off, and he's not that guy at this moment, which is unfortunate, because when he's hitting on all cylinders, it's
true. Yeah.
But do you think one of the biggest problem I think they have is that your top babyface champion is a heel?
For sure.
Yeah.
So like when Roman Reigns was the babyface champion in WWE and they were pushing him as the greatest good guy and he could overcome any odds, do you remember what happened to all the heels? They got cheered and they got neutered because of it, because they couldn't do anything. Because they Braun Strowman beat the shit out of that guy and flipped over an ambulance, and people just fucking cheered. That's not good, and that's one of the hard things. Because I think Jay White is a heel, and I think he needs to be able to heel, and it's really hard to heel against MJF.
That's a really good point, and something I hadn't considered.
Mm-hmm.
I think
and that may be my issue with it. That just may be my issue. Which may be why the Adam Cole thing worked so well.
Because
he had an actual face,
and they were kind of doing the same thing, and it wasn't that they were. It wasn't that they were both. They weren't trying to heal each other. They were like friends, and there was like that weird level of respect. That feud felt so new and refreshing, and this feud feels like, okay, I've seen this a million times. I don't fucking care. Bud's gonna try to disagree.
I mean, I would disagree with you on that last part, but I think I'm with you 100%. I think if Jay White was doing this shtick up against literally anybody else, give him Hangman Page. Like, I think it would read a lot better. I think you're right. I think MJF, it's just like fire and then more fire. And it's like, it's too much fire because they're just trying to one-up dick each other, which sounds sexual, but that's not what I'm saying.
I like the ending though, but I don't want Juice to win that diamond ring.
I would agree. Especially since they keep saying that they're going to pawn it. I don't think that's. I think they're kind of showing their hand saying that.
I hope, because I don't want him to win that fucking ring, because we're going to take everything bad. Then it's going to be that whole WWE feud of you lost everything and now we're going to take the last thing from you, and then somehow he's going to power through and win that match.
John Cena.
Exactly. So that one just kind of makes me go, eh. Other than that, I mean, it was just a show tonight.
I thought it was good.
It wasn't bad.
I liked Sakura
also,
versus Shida. That was a good match.
Leon and I talked about that, but again, so predictable.
Yeah, but that's okay. That doesn't
my
bother me.
My words, bud, were I wish they would bring Emmy in and do something more serious with her and boost her up.
But they just aren't.
And I don't know if that's because she's in Japan so much or like what, but
that I had a lot of notes like that on this card. Lance Archer, Death Triangle, Emi Sakura, hell, even Hikaru Shida. They're just not doing anything with these people, and they have such potential. Like they could really elevate the card, elevate the show, and make it something a little different.
My comment on Emmy was, you can pretty much tell if she's going to win or lose depending on who she's facing any night.
Yeah.
She's coming out against Shida. Oh yeah, she going to lose.
Yeah.
Coming out against Sky Blue. Well, a month or two ago, it was a win for sure. Now she's probably going to lose.
Sky Blue's butt broke the internet. That's what everybody keeps saying.
I believe that. She has a very nice keister.
She is
cake.
Okay. She is a prime example of someone that got so much better.
Mm-hmm.
And
she really has. Especially from the first time she was out there till now.
So good.
Fucking light years.
Her and fucking Julia Hart. Those two are just like holy shit.
I want them so badly to start a faction or to like branch out on. I don't know, but like there are no women aside from Julia Hart. Maybe there's like a couple more who are in and active like in a faction. Chris Statlander, I suppose, but that's less of a faction than say.
I still want to know. I still want to know what the fuck they're gonna do with Orange. Because I'm so befuddled that he's the champion again. He's gonna defend Saturday on Collision.
Like he's back. Yeah, he's his little segment there where he was talking. Like it sounds like he's just gonna be back to fucking defending it all the time. And I'm so tired, Renee.
Well, but he didn't defend it, unless I missed it. He didn't defend it tonight. He didn't defend it on Collision.
Nope.
No, but he hasn't. I think the goal for him is they always try to hit him once a week.
Yeah.
They like to put him on Rampage because when he's on Rampage, that pops the ratings, which is hilarious. Yeah. But it makes sense. But does Moxley come back and just beat him? Or what the fuck?
Sure, and then Phoenix can come back and he'll beat Moxley, and we'll just keep doing this over and over.
They'll both get hurt, and then Orange will win again.
Jesus Christ.
I really want that payoff of the Moxley Orange feud, and I think I would do a triple threat with Mox and Orange and somebody else, and I would have Mox win the triple threat.
Make it Ray, make it Penta.
It doesn't matter.
Make it Pac.
Moxley pins the other person to win the belt, and Orange kind of gets screwed, and then Mox doesn't give him a rematch, and then Orange has to climb and fight and try to get his way back up there, and then he gets that match with Mox, and they have a fucking just a war, and Mox wins again, but it's close, and then Orange does the fuck this shit, I want to beat you, I want one more shot, da 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 da. Then he goes out there, they have a third match, and he fucking beats him, and that the response to that will be huge. And then, there you go, you got a star. So, will they do that? I don't know.
Oh, that sounds very Tony, if I'm being honest.
Yeah,
I could see that.
It would work, especially with Mox. And Mox and Orange, that match they had in that pay-per-view was really good. So, what else did we talk about, Lee? We talked about the fact that Vince has no creative control in WWE.
Yay! I think you and I talked about that on Saturday.
The product is improving quickly.
Are you saying that sarcastically, or are you saying? I'm
saying it like I can't fucking believe it.
Okay.
They had some fucking bangers on Raw this week. They had Gunther fought who the fuck did he fight? Jonah, but his name's not Jonah anymore. What's his name?
Bronson?
Yeah, he fought Bronson, and they tore the fucking house down on Raw. Like, unbelievable. So, I feel like Triple H is way more invested in wrestling than bullshit sports entertainment, but he'll do bullshit sports entertainment because it is part of the product.
He kind of made his name with bullshit sports entertainment. So
he also Katie Vick. Let's not forget Katie Vick.
I mean, the second and third iterations of DX were bullshit sports entertainment. Let's be frank here.
So was the first one.
I mean, less so. That's a lot edgier.
It was still
it
bullshit
is
sports
it is
entertainment.
sports.
It was just
Yeah,
edgy
you're
bullshit
right.
sports entertainment.
That's fair. You're right.
But
Sophomoric bullshit.
I think
Don't get me wrong, we loved and still love it, but I mean, it was bullshit sports entertainment stuff.
Fair enough. You are correct.
I just think an emphasis. I think he was going to put more of an emphasis on like solid in-ring work because Triple H. You might forget, but like Triple H in the late '90s, early 2000s, put on some bangers.
Yeah,
you could fucking work. Even in the mid 2000s, he was pretty damn good. His matches just were.
Even in the midst of the reign of terror.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a while he was like the utility guy. Like you could put him up against anybody and have a good match. Maybe not the best on the card, but a good match.
Duke the Dumpster Drosy.
Good job.
So I think I was telling Leon, I think like if he gets some time to like get his own shit going, because for the past like year it's been he gets started, but Vince comes in and then Vince does shit, and now if it's totally his show, and he can kind of start squirreling out some of the Vince shit, I think Gunther's winning that world championship at WrestleMania from Seth Rollins, and I think he's gonna have Gunther fucking murder people for a year. And I'm on board for that because Gunther probably is the best thing they have right now.
Yeah, but then you have both of your world titles hung up on guys who can't get beaten. You know?
No, you won't. Because Roman won't have that belt at WrestleMania.
I want to believe you. I really do. I want to believe you.
I wanted to believe you for years.
So here's another thing that I listened to this week. There was a radio interview in like fucking, I want to say it was in Michigan, where they talked to Lex Luger. And they were talking about Cody Rhodes. And Lex Luger goes, ugh. He says, when the iron's hot, you got to strike. Because if you don't strike, you can't hold that momentum. Because that's what happened to me. And that's exactly what happened to him. If he would have won the world championship at SummerSlam 93, the way the world would have turned out, professional wrestling would have been totally different. Do I think he would have been successful? Probably not long term because he wasn't Bret Hart, but that would have been a totally different deal. And he's spot on because now we're looking around and Cody Rhodes is Cody Rhodes, but Cody Rhodes is, if you watch and you're a wrestling fan, he's a very he comes across as like a very pompous character. Like, he's very full of himself. Like, I'm the best, I'm this, I'm that. And people are like, well, then LA Knight now is, like, fucking hot. And people love him and they cheer him. And when LA Knight comes out, they're cheering him more than Cody Rhodes. So now you kind of have to ask yourself, well, do you have Cody Rhodes beat Roman? And then LA Knight, like, fights in, like, an opening match or some shit? Or do you give the strap to LA Knight? Which guy's more popular? Which guy's going to be the better guy? So now they put themselves in that situation, which is why they should have just done it last year and been done with it. But because I could see Cody not winning that belt.
Give the world title to LA Knight. Have Gunther murder Roman. Why the hell not?
Oh my god.
Gunther is so hot right now. Like, they could do it.
Like a 5-minute squash. I would pop my ass off for that. Gunther goes out and just kills him and wins the belt, but then that belt would get a bad reputation. I don't know. I know I want Gunther to be champion. The difference between Gunther and Roman is Gunther's matches are fucking good. Roman's matches are... They're not.
This is me pressing this, spamming the finisher button.
Yeah, pretty much.
Seriously. And one thing I've noticed from Gunther, like, I don't even know if he has a finisher. Like, he finishes the matches so many different ways.
I think that's the point of him. I think that's what's so good about him.
Which is, fuck yeah.
Yeah. I love
like,
that.
like a go-to finisher, like, you know, everything else has fallen short. This is the thing that's going to put anybody down.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. But him being able to just finish dudes off with so many different things is fantastic, man. Rather than just, let's spear him a few more times, and then let's Superman punch him a few more times, and then a few more of the other one, and then
did knock out the ref and then hit a guy with a chair and then have 4 guys run out. I think that Gunther is going to get the title reign that Bryan Danielson should have fucking had, where he just fucking murders people and out wrestles them. Because Bryan Danielson doing that in like 2013, if he would have went to Mania, it just fucked everybody up and just started tapping motherfuckers out.
But he's a little guy. You got it, big guys. Big guys need titles.
Underdog.
Yeah, he's an underdog.
He's the greatest underdog, pal.
He should fight Rey Mysterio because they're both widow guys.
It boggles my
Vince.
It boggles my fucking mind because Vince McMahon has gone out of style with his idea twice. Okay? Because in the 1980s he invented this style and it worked really fucking well. And you can't deny it. And we all got hooked as wrestling fans watching his bullshit. Because it was geared towards kids, and we got sucked in. And it was the Road Warriors for you, Leon. It was Hulk Hogan. It was the Ultimate Warrior. Those guys that we looked at, we're like, fuck, those guys are cool. I remember being a kid and thinking the Warrior was only like 6'3" and like 270. I'm like, he doesn't weigh 300 pounds. Wow, he's really little. Because that was what we were fucking trained to think. And then as we got older, we matured with that product. And the product didn't follow us. And Vince McMahon completely lost touch in 95 with Mabel and all that bullshit and Kevin Nash and all that. And then he realized he didn't know what the fuck he was doing, and he leaned on Vince Russo and he listened to what Vince Russo was saying, kind of shifted his ideas. Then we got this whole new thing. And then which was the Attitude Era, which was incredible. And then after the Attitude Era, he tried to keep doing that till that shit became passe. And then he went back to what it was in the 1980s, and that shit was passe. So he went passe 3 fucking times. Maybe 4. Before he finally dipped. And it's just crazy to sit here and be like, how the fuck did he keep reinventing himself? But his style doesn't work. And he really damaged that product. And he really, like, for over 10 years, we've hated that product. Going on almost fucking 20. 15. For 15 years, we've hated that fucking product. And that's all because of the shit he did.
He's always
just boggles my mind.
He's always been about the larger than life guys. Like, that's his thing. And
it works, but
when you have guys like Stone Cold and The Rock who aren't physically necessarily the biggest guys, but their personalities are huge, you can jump on that. Yep. I do, like, I've said it before, I think he lucked out with The Rock, and like that whole class of WWE superstars, he really lucked out on them because they were carrying a lot of that.
Do you remember when The Rock debuted?
Not off the top of my head.
Yeah, because you're not remembering how bad he fucked that up. Because Tom's gonna take some Mucinex. Came in with a fucking chia pet on his head. His name was Rocky Maivia. And he just smiled.
Yeah.
And he's a blue chipper. He's a blue chipper. That's all Jim Ross would say.
Baby face.
Blue chip, look at him. With a smile like that, he's a superstar. It's just like, and the crowd's like, yeah, you know what? Fuck you.
Steel blue eyes. What?
They really did actually push Roman Reigns and The Rock initially the same fucking way.
Yeah.
And then The Rock turned heel and then started cutting and then it was like, when he started cutting those heel promos, you realize, like, in 4 seconds, holy shit, this guy's really good. He can work, he can talk, and then he just fucking exploded. But they almost fucked that up. They were that close to fucking the booch on him.
Yes, but I don't believe that was Vince's call. If I'm remembering correctly, that was he spoke with somebody else. I don't remember who was like, They're booing you. Go with that.
Well, when he got hurt, and I remember he was the Intercontinental Champion. He beat Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, the Blue Blood. He beat him for the belt. And he was a champion, and everybody fucking hated him.
Mm-hmm.
And he was Intercontinental Champion for a long time. Like, he fought the Sultan at WrestleMania, which was... But
I didn't even remember it, so it must have been a banger.
The Sultan was Rikishi, I believe. Yeah, it was Rikishi.
Oh, dear.
And he was from the Middle East, and he wore a big mask to hide his face. So it was fucking bad. But he got hurt, and then when he came back, they decided to turn him heel and put him in the Nation. And then he wanted to cut a promo on the fans, and they weren't going to let him do it. And then he's like, come on, let me. And then he cut this promo on the fans, this heel promo. And it was so fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Then somebody told me he should talk in third person, or he talked in third person on accident. Somebody thought it was funny. So then he ran with it, and it was just...
I remember correctly, it was JR, because he referenced Deion Sanders before the draft or whatever, talking about himself.
Yeah, that's what it was. That's what it was. And it just fucking worked. But they almost did not click with that.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing with Steve Austin. Put on these emerald green trunks, pal. You're the ringmaster.
Mm-hmm.
You wore green trunks for that? I missed that part.
I remember the ringmaster. I don't know why, but like, it was so ridiculous.
He debuted against Matt Hardy. I remember Ted DiBiase brought him out as new $1 million champion. And they made this huge deal about it. I'm like, that's Steve Austin, but he cut his hair. And he was great. Like, I loved him in WCW because I thought he was such a good wrestler. And then when Hogan and those guys came over, they just kind of pushed his ass down the card, and then they forgot about him. But I remember that, and I remember being like, that is so stupid. And I was like 12. And then I remember he one day just came back, and he was Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the night he came out as Stone Cold, and Vince McMahon was on commentary like, well, he's taking on a different persona. He's very stone cold. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so fucking stupid. But it wasn't stupid, as it turns out.
It turned out all right, yeah.
It turned out okay. But that's to me, I guess the point I'm trying to make here is they have all this money, they have all this backing, they have all these incredible fucking workers, and they've given us shit for so long. And it's frustrating as fuck.
It is.
Because I want to be a WWE fan because it's what I grew up on, and they took me through so many amazing things. But I'm at a point where if I watch that show, I get fucking irritated. Because they do the stupidest shit, and I'm hoping that Triple H doesn't do that.
My biggest issue has always, well, not always, but like for a long time has been, they take these guys who are really good wrestlers, and they turn them into cartoons. And I'm like, I don't want to watch cartoons. I'm watching wrestling. Like, I want to watch these guys fight. I don't give a shit if Rikishi ran the Stone Cold with a car. Like,
I did it for The Rock.
Just let them fight.
I did it for the people.
I like that angle, though, bud. I don't know why you're calling that one out. That one was fun.
It was fun. It was just an example.
The angles I take more issue with is you have like the greatest tag team in the world in FTR, and you want to like show a video of them shaving each other's back. Why the fuck are we doing that? That's stupid. Or the night Jericho and Christian got their bags stolen, their trunks were gone, they were walking around with just towels over their junk. That was stupid.
But funny. No,
That's
I
not
think it was mostly stupid.
Jericho. Apparently fucking Vince wanted them to actually be naked.
Yeah.
Like when they came out and they got the towels pulled away. It's like, Vince, I don't want to get fucking arrested.
Meanwhile, Midian was like a few feet away, and he's like, "Hey, Vince, I could do that.
Let me put on this flesh-colored thong and go."
Oh, good lord!
There's so many stupid things, and sometimes they work. And when the product's good, you just kind of ignore the dumb.
Yeah,
because they've always had like really strong.
On it.
Mm-hmm.
They've had really strong characters and really good shit going on, so they kind of forgot. Like Attitude Era TV, was like a cliffhanger every week. It was great. It was fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
You wanted to watch. They told amazing stories across the board. Even their mid-card shit was good. And then when it fell, and then it just became this drudge of I can't stand this product. So, you think AEW is going to hire Rick Boogs?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I love Rick Boogs. I actually do. His mustache, he's great.
It could happen.
The Wardlow match tonight was also stupid because he hit one powerbomb and knocked him out.
It's just like, that's bugging me, because they have a few guys that they're doing that with right now, where they're like established. Like when you have a big guy and you're trying to convince us that he's a monster, yeah, go send him out and give him these squash matches. Most people who watch AEW know who Wardlow is. They talk about Wardlow. We've seen Wardlow. You don't have to show us that he's a monster.
Well, they turned him heel tonight because he knocked over Tony and he was going after MJF.
Mm-hmm. Which, like, 2 months ago would have made him a face. Minus the knocking over Tony Schiavone.
Yeah.
Nobody pulls that shit on Schiavone.
Giovanni. Yeah. Very weird. Very, very weird.
I don't know. Maybe it'll hit. Maybe it'll be awesome. It just.
I think Wardlow and MJF could have a fucking fantastic feud.
Yeah.
That I think would be better. I think that would be better than the Switchblade because Wardlow has fucking destroyed MJF. They had a match that was just murder.
Yeah.
So that makes more sense to me.
Plus, they have some history now. Well, they have lots of history, but they have that. Their last match was kind of like they can play with that story.
Yeah. And MJF's the underdog, and MJF got his ass kicked, and MJF had to figure out a way. Like I like that better.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope they run with that as opposed to. I don't know. This Switchblade thing is just. I hope the match is good. I guess that's where I'm at.
I think so. I think it will be. Like Jay White is still putting on bangers. I think
it's disappointing. It's disappointing because the Bang Bang Gang is so fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. If it was like Adam Page as champion, they were doing this to him, it would land so much fucking better.
Mm-hmm.
But it's weirdly hard to feel sympathy for MJF because he's such a fucking dick. He's our dick, but he's a dick. You know.
It's sort of like it sort of reminds me of like in high school you would get those like people who are like trying to like one up each other constantly. I mean, it happens all the time, but like they just like and they just both come off as assholes, and you're like, this isn't interesting to me. I'm gonna walk away now.
Yeah, that's a good analogy for it. I don't know. I didn't think Dynamite was bad, but that feud is weird.
Mm-hmm.
Swerve is gonna fight Hangman again. It looks like, which I'm totally fine with.
Let's do it. I loved that fucking match. That was a great match. And I love Swerve. Like he's put on some pounds of like muscle. Like he looks bigger.
Yeah, he's looking. It's time to run with him though.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to run with him. The other thing I wish AEW would do is they'd start to have like some of these guys. I feel like we still have a group of like main event guys that are kind of working with amongst themselves, and they pull up certain guys, but they're not pulling up some of these other. We got to start to get some more guys involved. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like we've got there feels like there's a pecking order.
Yeah,
and you're kind of fighting people within your area, which I get, but it'd be nice to see. Like Moxley, Orange Cassidy is an example of what you need to do.
Yeah, introducing new characters, new players to each other who haven't like really wrestled each other or fought each other. I think that's what's so exciting about that is that they don't seem like they should work, but they absolutely do.
I feel like we're at a point right now where WWE can increase this gap and they can start to put some good shit together.
Mm-hmm.
And AEW just has to kind of not pay attention because I don't think you can compete with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think especially with a guy like Triple H, and then even a guy like Shawn Michaels,
Mm-hmm.
those are some pretty fucking smart dudes that have lived this business. And I don't think. I think with Vince, I think they had a chance. And now I'm kind of sitting here like, okay, they're not catching him. And I'm okay with that. They don't have to catch him.
Yeah.
They have to make their own world. But
that is the thing. It can't be. They can't make it a competition. They're not going to win.
No.
It's like WCW trying to take on WWE. It's going to fail eventually. Like WCW did a great job. You look at TNA though, like TNA didn't even have a chance because
No. But Triple H is smarter. I think Triple H is smarter and less reactionary than Vince.
Yeah.
And Triple H kind of sees the big picture and wants to build his shit up. And I think that, to me, like, I'm excited for WWE. I'm excited to see what they do. Now, am I going to start watching Raw? No. If they pull some shit off and it gets good, maybe I'll turn it on. But there's no way I'm committing to 3 hours of Raw. Even if it's good. I won't do it.
Mm-mm.
No fucking way. No fucking way. I just won't do it.
I want them to stop. I want them both to stop doing that shit. Because, like, Trips and Sean are doing... I don't know if Sean is doing it so much, but Trips is taking shots at AEW. Like, knock it off. Do your own shit. Like, you're a $1 billion company. Why the fuck do you care about them? I mean, I guess technically AEW is also a...
Well, yeah, when Tony Khan
company,
starts running his mouth, Triple H is kind of like, well, yeah, but, you know... AEW can't lose their identity.
Mm-mm.
And that's a really important thing. They have to focus on what they have. They have to focus on who they are. If they lose MJF, they're in trouble.
I think so. Yeah.
Like, they're in trouble because they're not going to have. They're not going to have what they're not going to have the guy. I'm thinking Tony's got him locked down, but if he strolls out in 2024 and he shows up at WWE and they just let him be Max, that's going to do pretty good numbers. I mean, that's going to just be... It'll be... Then they won't have anybody. They won't have anybody. They have people, but they won't have that top star.
Yeah.
He's their dude.
He is.
And they've got to find a way to get, like, those other pillars have to start. We got to start going here. You know what I mean? Like, we're so many start and stop pushes with them. Like, they get hot and then they do something stupid. They get hot and then they do something stupid.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't know. I just think I think a lot has changed in the past 3 months, 6 months. I think Punk leaving really hurt because Punk was kind of their... We got Punk. We're fine. You know, he's our guy. He's a big name. Now they don't have that.
Biggest needle mover, biggest merch mover.
Yeah.
Yep.
But they lost him.
Yep.
And they alienated a little bit of their fan base. I was thinking about this today because my thought was this: they would have been better off never fucking signing him.
Yeah.
Like, hindsight 2020, they shouldn't even have bothered. No, they shouldn't even have bothered because before he got there, they were killing it. If we would have just got Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson, I'd have been okay with that. But they brought him in, and it was just like, oh, that's so bad. That's so bad.
Yeah, but we didn't see it back then.
No, because we just saw that fucking reaction cool when he came out. Which, if you go turn that on right now, if you go fucking watch that, his return on that fucking Rampage, you'll get fucking goosebumps. It was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking crazy.
But I think that the guys from that situation who are really directing, I guess, like the way that AEW really needs to go are the other guys. Bryan Danielson, Adam Cole, even Ruby Soho to some extent. Like, those signings, I think, have proven far more helpful for the company on the long term. And I think honestly, I think Punk just, he came back when he really shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Or maybe he should have gone to WWE. Maybe he would have done better.
Doesn't sound like they're too interested in doing anything with him.
I mean, give it a few months. They will.
We'll see. I don't know.
It is Trips, though. Like, if it was
I don't know.
Vince would be like, let's let it rest, and people forget about you, and then we'll bring you in.
I don't know, because I think if you actually look at what WWE has, what they're doing right now, they've got a shitload of plans, and they know where they're going. And when Vince was in charge, you never fucking knew.
Well, no, because plans usually changed every other week.
So I look at this and I kind of go, I don't think so. I don't think they're going to upset that apple cart, because if you bring him in, they got to move somebody out. You know what I mean? And then I look around and I go like Gunther, Dominic Mysterio, Seth Rollins. As much as he's cringe, dude's kind of hitting all cylinders. He's on fire. You know,
it's true.
You've got all these guys. You've got Cody, who to me is just. I hope he doesn't win the title. I'm so tired of him. He just makes himself. He's so like, put me in the spotlight. I'm the star. I'm the main event. Da 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 da. I'd rather see Gunther. I'd rather see Gunther chop your throat off and then you go away. You know? Because Gunther's awesome. Like, I love Gunther. Shinsuke. Like, let's get Shinsuke rebuilt. Let's get him the belt. Why the fuck haven't we done that? You know, there's just shit like that. I'm just sitting here and I finally feel like.
You can't cut a promo, pal.
If they gave Shinsuke the belt, if they let Gunther go, like, there's some really amazing shit we can do. There's some really amazing shit. And I feel like Trips will do it. That's why, like, I'm sitting here right now, I'm saying, like, I don't watch WWE. But you know what? In 6 months, I might. Because if the product's good, I'm gonna watch it. Like, that's just, you know. And I've been the most staunch anti-WWE guy for so long because it sucks.
So bad.
But if you're gonna make it better, great.
Let's do it.
I still can't stand watching Raw, though. And I won't stop watching Dynamite. I like Dynamite.
One of the other things we were talking about while you were taking care of business was hoping that they'll cut Raw down in 2 hours.
I think that's what Trips wants.
Be so much better.
I don't know if that's what Endeavor wants.
3 hours is too fucking much, man.
It is. Especially when you also have NXT and you also have SmackDown and you also have monthly pay-per-views. And whatever the fuck else they have. I'm sure they have shows that I don't even know about. Main event, 205 Live.
They do. They don't have 205. They haven't had 205 Live for a while.
I don't know.
Those guys are too small, pal. Get rid of them. Have them go for the 24/7 title. They got rid of the 24/7
Saudi show.
I think it's an interesting time in wrestling. I think things are going to change a little bit. I think Trips really is going to make a difference. I think him having full power and him and Sean kind of working hand in hand there, I think that's going to be great for them. The only thing I worry about is if those numbers don't look the way they want and they decide to put somebody else in there, who do you put in that company if it's not Trips?
Bruce Pritchard, Eric Bischoff, Vince Russo.
What about some guy we've never heard of? That's a TV guy.
Donnie,
you know what I mean?
Calzone.
That's the thing. There's not that many wrestling minds outside of that sphere that are left.
That's true.
No,
that
that's like, but who do you
program, that know how to
but who do you
TV.
who do you fucking have anymore that can book it? Like, Tony Khan does pretty well. I have a feeling he won't go to WWE. Just a thought in my head. Jericho.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you have some of those old timers who you could.
But could Jericho book a whole TV show and like run all the creative?
Regal.
Regal could.
But Regal's getting up there. I guess he's not. He's about the same age as Jericho.
He could do it.
I mean, but who the fuck else? You don't have people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You don't have that. You don't have that creative mind. Like shit. 20 years ago when WCW closed, you had like Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes. You had all these fucking people. Ole Anderson was tooling around, even though he sucked. But you had like all these people that could have stepped into those roles.
Mm-hmm.
Now you kind of look around, you're like, oh, I think Bill Watts is still alive. He could come back.
Oh my
Mick
god!
Foley would be kind of cool.
We're gonna ban top rope moves again?
Yeah, and say words that we're not supposed to say anymore.
Oh, Jesus.
I only said that word because I was telling a joke and he just misunderstood what I was saying. You said it 9 times.
And Tony Atlas is his BFF.
That's how it works.
But you don't. But that's going to be a huge problem though here in like 10 years. Is you suddenly don't have these creative minds anymore. What active WWE wrestler do you look at and go, "Oh, eventually that guy could be the guy running the show"?
My knee-jerk reaction is Seth Rollins, honestly.
Sammy, Seth, Kevin.
I'm sorry, Sammy?
Would they want to? Sammy Zayn.
Oh. I was like, Sammy Guevara? He's like... he's a baby and he works for a different company.
Yeah. I mean, you just don't have... There's just not... Those people just aren't there.
I mean, they do have a lot of guys on like Legends contracts that they could bring in and be like, hey... write a show for us.
Brooklyn Brawler.
I think that's probably what you do. It's like, if you don't know who to go with.
Is Heyman involved in creative anymore, or is he just strictly on screen?
I don't think he's doing creative.
No.
Okay.
I feel like I read that.
I also, hot take on Paul Heyman, I don't think his creative would be half as good as it was 30 years ago.
No.
Because I think his style and what he wants to do has changed tremendously. He's very much indoctrinated into that WWE style.
I think he's got some edge to him, but it's still very Vince washed.
Yeah.
It's through that lens.
Because you just don't have the people like you used to. You've got like who's running the Impact? What's the guy's name?
D'Amore.
Yeah, and people are talking about how great of a booker he is. But and I think Impact's okay, but like Impact's not like groundbreaking, revolutionary, changing the business. They're just okay.
I mean, given the resources, Scott D'Amore could do better.
Yeah, but I don't think Scott D'Amore would do any better than Tony Khan.
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know.
I don't think he'd do any better than Triple H or Shawn Michaels. You know what I mean? You don't. We've always had that guy in the back pocket that's like ready to pop up and like take something over.
Gabe Sapolsky.
Like, but you've always had the guy, like you've always had that up and coming guy that you're looking at. You're like, that's the guy. Mm-hmm. That's the booker. And we don't have the territories the same way. We don't have the smaller feds the same way the indie feds. But there's just not really anybody out there like, man, this guy needs to get the book. Man, this guy needs to get the book. Or this girl needs to get the book. There's none of that.
There was really only the one guy who like got really in WWE, and it was Triple H. And now he's there.
Yep.
I could see Mick Foley. The Rock, maybe.
I don't know if The Rock would never do it. I don't know if Mick Foley. If you listen to Mick Foley,
money.
I don't know if you listen to Mick Foley talk and kind of the problems he has with memory. I don't think Foley would be the best long-term booker.
Yeah, well, you'd have to put a lot of people around him to help him out with that stuff.
Yeah.
He's a good storyteller.
I think he'd have to be like a punch-up type of guy, like not writing the script, but improving lines and improving moments, angles, matches.
I could see that.
Coming up with finishes, that kind of thing.
I just don't see Foley as a head booker either. I just don't think he has that mentality. There's a mentality you kind of have to have. You have to be a little cutthroat. I think that's part of Tony Khan's problem. But you got to be a little cutthroat.
He's everybody's best friend.
Yeah. But Butch Bischoff.
I mean, I appreciate the fact that the people that work for him love that man.
Mm-hmm.
Little side tangent. I've been still listening to 10 Bell Pod and everything, and the I guess the main guy on it, a professional wrestler, Man Scout Jake Manning. Like when it first started, he was an employee of High Spots, and then I just got to their season 3, and he quit. He walked away from High Spots, and between seasons 2 and 3, I don't know if he still is. I'm pretty sure he still is. He's an employee of AEW now. He does like a lot of their merch stuff and everything. And I just did their episode on Ashley Massaro and all the shit that happened to her in Kuwait and everything else. And the way he came out talking about how anything remotely like that had happened to anybody in AEW, anybody that worked for Tony, like, you know, mountains would have been moved and shit. Like, people love that dude who worked for him. Like, he's legitimately good to the people under him.
Yeah, that I believe.
Yeah.
Which is invaluable. But you got to be able to draw that line to the point where, you know, he's the boss and they need to listen to him too, though. So
that's kind of a. It's kind of a. But if people want to work for you, type of thing.
That's a huge thing, man. If you're treating your people like that, and everybody, you know, word gets around, and nobody has a bad word to say about you. I mean, there are some, but I mean, the people that work under you, work for you. It's hard to inspire that kind of loyalty. So he's doing something right there.
Yeah, I would agree. I think he's just got to be able to. His locker room management has to get better. I think he's afraid of
delegate a little bit more.
I think he's afraid of confrontation too, though. I don't think he wants to get into those hard conversations with people.
Which is fine, but then you need to lean on other people.
Find somebody to do that. Hire Bully Ray. Bully Ray likes doing that shit.
Of course he does.
Bully Ray's a dick.
He'll bring back Wrestler's Court.
You could just go back to the who could book stuff. You could get him and fucking Tommy in there.
Oh god.
They used to run the house show stuff and everything for ECW.
No, that's okay.
I listened. There's a reel on Instagram or YouTube, I can't remember, of him and Devon and ECW cutting a promo on the crowd.
Oh god.
It's like back in our day, we could handle things. And he's cutting this promo and it's just like, how is this motherfucker not getting canceled? Holy fuck.
The shit that used to come out of his mouth, yeah.
I mean, oh my god.
He got pretty vile.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Like, I swear to God, some of the times that he went out there, like, with the express, like, idea of, I'm going to go out here and cause a near riot.
When I first heard the Dudley Boys were coming over, I didn't really know who they were into WWE, and my ECW ability to see it back then, I just didn't watch it that much. And somebody described him somewhere, I can't remember who it was. He's a louder, fatter, smellier Brian Knobbs.
Okay,
I don't know about fatter, but I mean, sure.
That's what they said. That's what they fucking said, and I was like, oh. Okay.
This is sweet. It's very sweet. I don't know. He was a big boy when he was in ECW. He's a very big boy.
Yeah, he lost a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. I've seen some of that old stuff.
Kudos to him though, because he had a good career. He had some good matches. Mm-hmm. He never was like at that higher level, and he's a. The Dudley Boys are a prime example of the problem that Vince McMahon always had with tag teams. You get one tag team, you just shove them down everybody's throat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then
this is our tag team division.
And then when a new tag team comes in that's hot, they beat the old tag team, but then they wind up losing back to that tag team because the new tag team sucks. So you just keep throwing the belts on them, but they never have like the good feud or the good they had the Edge and Christian Hardy Boys stuff. But after those teams kind of disappeared, the Dudleys were still there. They did nothing of value.
It was a shtick by that point, for sure.
Yeah, and it was really. By the time they left and went to TNA, it was like, yeah, it's time for them to go.
Mm-hmm.
because they've just kind of there's nothing left for them to do. But I don't know.
I don't know either.
But Bubba Ray was in ECW. Is just, I'm imagining all that censored on the network, or it's just not there because it's just be one long beep.
Yeah.
Most of ECW, I would imagine, is censored on there.
Probably.
Which is a shame because that was kind of the beauty of ECW. Everything New Jack.
Oh God. New Jack.
I also one more thing.
I mean, with the move to Peacock, I wonder if any of that's even on there anymore.
Probably not. Probably not.
Yeah,
I have one. I have one more thing.
Yeah.
Because I know we're getting close to ending this.
Before we go, yeah.
Ric Flair is a fucking mark for his own daughter, and it's annoying because he believes his own shit. He was talking about when Jade Cargill went face to face with Charlotte. Jade didn't want any of that. She didn't want any of that smoke. He kept saying, "It's like, Rick, it's wrestling, bro. You're doing a fucking podcast. Like, you're doing a podcast. Like, everybody knows it's fake. What the fuck are you talking about?"
He's keeping up kayfabe. It's his job.
Yeah, which just, oh my God, I can't
Putting his daughter over town. It's being a good dad for the first time in his existence.
He is just, he's fucking he just needs to go away.
He's insane. He's an insane person.
He always was.
Yeah, he's gotten worse over the years.
In that same fucking interview, he said, "Well, I'm glad social media wasn't around when I was doing my stuff because I probably would have got arrested with the shit I was doing." You don't say, Rick.
We know, Rick. We know. We know.
Fucking Ric Flair. Oh.
Styling and profiling.
Inappropriately touching women. Inappropriately touching women in hotels for 25 years. That's not even 25. What's it at? Like 50?
Yeah.
Was he 73?
Roughly.
Probably 70 years.
Roughly 50 years.
Just come on, man. I struggle with listening to him. There's people I just listen to and I just cringe. He's one of them. Hogan's one of them because Hogan doesn't tell truths.
Gangrel. That was a lot of fun.
Hogan's lies just get bigger and bigger every time he tells them. It's entertaining at this point.
WrestleMania like 38 or something. Yeah, we were going to have an angle. I was going to come back and I was going to tag team with my son Nick and we were going to have a match. And then people in WWE are like, "No, they fucking weren't. That never got talked about. What are you talking about?"
I very much enjoyed the when Sting mentioned Hogan's name. And the whole crowd was like, "Boo!" He's like, I know.
Well, he's another guy that has just it's those like 70s guys that were kind of big in the 70s that got really big in the 80s that are like fucking they're holding on to it because they can't stop working and they still think that like they're the biggest fucking draw in the world. Like Hogan and Flair together probably think they could go and sell out like fucking Dallas Stadium and have a main event and like get 100,000 people on that show. When realistically they probably couldn't sell out 3,000 because everybody'd be like, "No,
didn't they
we're
both
not doing
retire
this
already?"
Rick wants to come back though.
Of course he does.
That wasn't a good last match. It wasn't a good last match.
Yeah, you're not going to get any better than that, my friend.
They thought he fucking died in that match. Oh, what a
70
fucking
years
shitty
old,
match.
my friend. I'm sorry.
Passed out or fell asleep during it or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Or blacked out or whatever the fuck.
I didn't black out. I was just faking because I knew I had to get the match back on track. So I just pretended like I passed out. That's what he said.
Is that what it was?
It's okay. Hulk Hogan was the basis for Metallica almost.
Twice. He was.
Twice. Twice. That's true.
I looked at.
He's now claimed that he almost replaced fucking Cliff and that he almost replaced Jason.
They asked Lars. I heard an interview with Lars Ulrich, the drummer from Metallica, and he's like, I don't know that I've ever met Hulk Hogan. I mean, I know who he is. kind of, but I don't know that I've ever actually met him in person. That's not a true story.
I looked it up at one time, and he has, like, in the span of, like, a few years, told contradicting stories. Like, one time he's like, oh, we were basically besties. And then another one, he's like, I thought about it, but, you know, I got busy. Like, shut up.
Also, my favorite was the time he was talking about how he worked 420 days in a year.
420 matches, maybe.
No, he said 420 days. When you fly back from Japan to America, you get an extra day.
Oh my god!
And the guy interviewed him's like, "Oh, that's not right, but okay." It's like your fucking crazy grandpa just talking like a fucking lunatic.
Okay, Grandpa, take your pills. Sit down.
Yep, Grandpa, I know.
Oh, good lord.
I used to have big arms. Yep, that's great, Grandpa. You took steroids, we know. He even downplays that. I never took steroids. I only took steroids once. Yeah, no, that's not true.
I only took one steroid. I still love that meme that gets floated around every once in a while about Shawn Michaels saying that as a grandpa, he's like telling his grandkids, "I used to be sexy."
It's Hulk Hogan. Some of the stories he fucking tells, you just can't. Like me and the Macho Man met at the doctor like a week before he died, and we buried the hatchet. I'm like, I don't believe you.
Yeah, for some reason your track record, you know, I'm not giving you the benefit of the doubt here.
His lies are fucking amazing. They're fucking they're so amazing. You can literally sit down and you can listen. There's a YouTube video I listened to that was an hour long. It was just Hulk Hogan telling lies. Holy fuck, he said that? And it's him saying it. You're just like, wow.
And then he says the exact opposite thing in the next clip. And that's also somehow a lie. Hi, Ninja.
He also once cut a promo about he had an interview where he's talking about how the plan was to put Bret Hart over after winning the belt at WrestleMania 9. They were going to go to SummerSlam and they were going to have a match. He said put Hart over, and he was all on board, but Vince McMahon didn't want to do it, and it was Vince, and he tried to talk to Bret, and he was talking to Bret and telling Bret he was sorry and this and that. And then there was another interview where he's talking about it. Well, the plan was for me to go to Mania for like 3 months to beat Yoko and then drop the belt right back to him at King of the Ring. And it's just like you just contradicted you. Which fucking one was it?
Whichever one is true this week.
Or Vince came crawling to me the day of WrestleMania and wanted me to get the belt back, and I wasn't too on it. And and he was talking about losing it to Bret Hart. I didn't agree, so then I decided I'll just lose it to Yoko because Yoko's bigger. And then there was another time where, I was gonna lose it. I was gonna lose it to Bret, but then Vince didn't want to do it. He just that one little thing. Every time he talks about it, it's fucking different.
Yeah. Pritchard likes to sell it that they wanted Hogan on top because they were about to go do a tour of Europe, and they wanted him headlining that.
And they never went on the tour.
That's the story that he's stuck to for about as long as I was listening to the podcast regularly.
And they never went on the tour. That's the kicker. The
Did
tour.
They not?
They went on the tour, but Hogan didn't go.
That's what it was. Okay, that makes sense.
Because Conrad's like talking about the tour. Okay, here's the first day. No fucking Hogan. He wasn't there. He did it for the tour. Bullshit. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. That show was way more fun when Bruce wasn't working for the E actively.
Bud Robinson.
Yes.
I did the intro. You do the outro.
This has been Town and Leon and sometimes Bud. Used the wrong name. And now it's time for everybody to go to bed.